Yo guys, it's Slyroh. You already know that. Today I'm bringing you guys my battle for Week 8 of the Pokemon Premier League. This week we're taking on Shroomraver of the Parasect Germain, a long-time rivalry that I don't believe we were able to battle last season, but due to circumstances we have been able to battle this season, and I am super hyped. Shroom is one of the long-standing rivalries that I have since Season 1 of the PPL. So to have this battle, it was fantastic, and it turned out to be a pretty good battle. So if you guys don't know, we have only had one battle ever that was decided not by hacks. We have a lot of hacksy matches. I should say 1.5. There's one that I don't really think was that big of a deal, but Shroom usually includes it, which is the first time we faced. Whatever. But basically, we don't have a lot of great battles, even though we have a lot of close ones, and I don't know, I feel like we evenly match up a lot of times. So either way, I was really hyped for this battle. I'm going to talk about my team because I built for Shroom a little differently than I would build for most coaches. So I looked at Shroomraver's team, and the main thing that I saw, the first thing that jumped out at me over everything, you can see the 6 that he brought, but the first thing that jumped out at me was the Zangoose that he has on his team. He has a Zangoose on his team. There's a couple other things he has on his team, like a Tangela, and a couple other things that I don't think are super important because they're not here. But there was a couple things that I really thought he was going to bring. And Zangoose actually destroys my team. My normal resists are Mismagius, which dies to like a Shadow Claw or a knockoff. Empoleon, which dies to like a close combat, and yeah. Also, I believe this is the week that I did the Empoleon transfer. Yes. So Empoleon is my last transfer. I dropped Registeel, picked up Empoleon, got myself a much better Steel type. Come at me. I really don't like Registeel. Empoleon, I don't know if I'm going to like it, but, you know, I'm going to try it, and then I'll be able to make a better decision at the end of the season. So we'll see. But either way, so back to the Zangoose thing. I really thought that Zangoose was going to come because it just destroys my team. And if it gets up like a Swords Dance or something, like, that's it. I am done. So I really decided to bring a team that was not going to let Zangoose beat me. I thought Shroom would definitely want to bring it. He wants Zangoose to get as many kills as possible, and Zangoose would easily get a minimum of 1 kill, at least. Probably more. If he brought it. So I bought a team that was going to prevent that from happening. And I brought a very hyper offensive team, which I wanted to do against Chi, but I didn't feel like the team could be built for that. However, after doing a couple transfers, I feel like I can kind of make a hyper offensive team out of it this week, so that's what I tried to do. But Shroom also kind of knew that I might over-prep for that and then didn't bring it, so we're going to see how this works out. But just to let you know what my team is, my only defensive mon is a physically defensive Slowbro with leftovers, with Scald, Slack Off, Toxic, and Iron Defense. I actually wanted to put Light Screen on, but Slowbro only learns Light Screen by like TM in Gen 1, and I just didn't feel like figuring out. It was just a 4th move I was throwing on, so I figured I'd throw Iron Defense on there. That way, once the special attackers are gone, I can just 1v1 his whole team. I brought a Choice Banded Gliscor with enough speed to outspeed Zangoose, with U-Turn and Earthquake and Stone Edge and Stealth Rock because I didn't need any more coverage. A Life Orb Tornadus T with the Regenerator. Well, obviously, I don't know why I said it like it wouldn't have Regenerator, but it had Hurricane and a couple other moves, U-Turn, something like that. It had enough speed to outspeed the Salazzle, and Mismagius was brought also to outspeed. I think it was enough to outspeed Zapdos, and was Focus Sash just to at least get a hit off against something if bad stuff was happening. So there's that. And then I brought dual Scarfers in Scarf Tapu Bulu and Scarf Empoleon. Empoleon also rocking the Scarf Defog because if I have a Focus Sash, it would be nice to not have hazards on my side. Even though I don't believe Shroom has a Rapid Spinner, and his only defogger could be Zapdos, and I think he had one other option maybe. I'm almost positive he doesn't have a Rapid Spinner. So those were the things I brought. Empoleon also had Scald, Ice Beam, and something, and Bulu had like the Hornleech, Woodhammer, Stone Edge, and something else. So that was my team. You can see the 6 that Shroom brought, and instead of going into detail on what they are, I've already been talking for 5 minutes, so let's go ahead and get into this battle. Also, my voice, if it sounds a little stuffed up or whatever, I am getting over, like, allergies and stuff, a cold. It's pretty sick this past weekend, so just getting over that. But I start with Slowbro, thinking that's a good lead against everything except for Zapdos. So as long as Zapdos doesn't show up, it's a pretty good matchup, but Zapdos shows up. Guess what I don't have a switch in for? An offensive Zapdos, because I brought an offensive team with Slowbro as my only defensive mon, which was to help go against Terrakion, semi-Zangoose, even though it still gets 2-hit KO'd by a Facade, and like one other thing, I think there was another, Mamoswine was another one. So he Volt switches. As I go into Mismagius, I went into Mismagius because it was the least important, and I can actually take 2 Volt switches. I also find that out that he is max special attack, and I believe modest. Actually, I don't remember if it's modest or timid, but I'm pretty sure with those calcs, it could be either, or it was modest. I don't remember. But I decided to go into Tapu Bulu on the Araquanid, thinking that he was just going to go for the bug move or the water move, and Tapu Bulu could get up the grassy terrain, and that'd be good. Unfortunately, a Stone Edge is like a 3% chance to take him out. Oh wait, shoot, maybe I did go for it. Yeah, I wanted to make sure, I wanted to test if he was Scarfed. Even if he went for like Heat Wave, I would have lived, I would have been able to live anything. So I needed to test if he was Scarfed. Since he outsped me, obviously, he's Scarfed because I'm also Scarfed, so I did go for the Stone Edge, I forgot about that. And we see the Mawile come in. That did a lot of damage because I crit. Not really a big deal. He's going to get leftovers and grassy terrain back, so not really a big deal, especially since I have to switch out anyway. And like I said, this is not a hacksy game. I will say that right up front. There is no game-changing hacks in this entire game from what I remember, so yeah. With that being said, we are 1 for 1 on Stone Edge hits, which is pretty good, because Stone Edge hitting or missing has definitely been something that has affected a past battle of ours. So I switched into Gliscor, not knowing what he would go for, but he went for Knockoff, and I was like, no, he knocked on my Choice Band. A Choice Band in Earthquake would have definitely been a 2-hit KO even in grassy terrain, and without grassy terrain, it would have been a nod, you know, another thing, an Oko. But I probably would have just U-turned. But either way, here I go for the Stealth Rock. Because I figured rocks are going to be good. If he has an offensive Zapdos, he might not have Defog, and I really want Zapdos. I want to limit Zapdos' switch-ins, because if I don't, Zapdos will 6-0 me. That is the thing. Like, with a Scarf Zapdos, it can 6-0 me. So I go into Empoleon, thinking there's no way he goes for Earthquake. I was in with Gliscor, so there was no chance. He was either going to go for Knockoff, predicting a switch-out, or he was going to go for the Ice move on the Gliscor. There was no reason to go for Earthquake. I am Scarfed, and a Scald is a guaranteed Oko. I'm thinking I might have made a mistake because he could be Focus Sash, but he actually switches out as I stand and go for the Scald. So, and Araquanid takes those nice rocks. So it's really good that I got the rocks up for the Araquanid and the Zapdos and the Salazzle, all weak to rocks, so very good. We don't do a whole lot of damage, and I kind of need to figure out what I want to do to this. I switched into Bulu last time, and I'm thinking that he might try and catch me on that switch with the Poison Jab, which it does learn, and I do get that prediction correct, so I was super proud of myself. He went for the Poison Jab, and now that I'm actually looking at the calcs, knowing that he's not Choice Banded, even his stab moves, his Leech Life is a max roll of 41%, because he's not Life Orb, and he's not Choice Banded, so I can 1v1 his Araquanid with my Slowbro, which is crazy. I did not think I'd be able to do that. So I go for Toxic so I can begin 1v1ing him, which is fantastic. And this is going to start a little bit of a slow part of this battle. Unfortunately, with the way I record these, I don't have a way to speed it up unless I just skip the whole turn entirely. But you're going to see this 1v1 take place and all that good stuff. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm showing him that I'm not scared. I'm going to stay in, and I am going to take him out. I tried to go for the double Toxic, thinking that he might switch out, because I would think that he could see that I can 1v1 him, and unless he just wants to let a Araquanid go down for no reason, you know, then I can do this all day. I was also thinking that he wanted to get me to a low enough point that he could predict me to slack off, so that way he could get a clean switch in. So, but I don't know. He didn't quite do that either. I guess if I had went for an attack now, I would have to switch out, and then he would have double switched on me. But I was just going to wait for him to switch. I mean, at this point, I'm trying to either catch Zapdos on the switch in and Toxic it, or catch something. And I think that's what I do here, because I can take another Leech Life. I'm at more health than the last time he went for anything, but he went for Liquidation. I think he's predicting me to over-predict, I think he's predicting me to predict him to switch out and to switch into something else, and I think that's why he's switching up his moves. I think Liquidation also has a chance to lower my defense stat, which I only realized after like the second or third time that he went for it. I realized why he was going for Liquidation. So I guess if we got a couple defense drops, then he would have been able to. But after like 5 turns of him just going for Liquidation or Leech Life, I figure this would be the weirdest time for him to go for Poison Jab, and that wouldn't make sense. So let's use this time to go into Tapu Bulu. And it works out perfectly. He goes for the Liquidation, and now I can see, oh yeah, the defense drops. That's a thing. But it's not going to matter, because Stone Edge can take this out, and actually, after this toxic damage, Horn Leech can take it out, which is fantastic, because that's the move I want to go for, because I want to get some health back, because I have, taken some damage. So I'm going to go for the Horn Leech, and I am going to knock this thing out, which is fantastic. Tapu Bulu getting its first kill of the game, and which is really the only thing that's important, is how many kills Tapu Bulu gets, because it is the most important mon on my team, and my favorite Pokemon on this team, probably. At least the one that I've just used for the first time and have really gotten to love. I love Tapu Bulu, and if I get another chance to use it, I definitely will in the future. So, but he goes into this Salazzle, and I decided to sack off the Mismagius. I didn't want to. I think at this point Slowbro could have been 2-hit KO'd, and I didn't really want to deal with that. So I wanted to get a clean switch in. So I sack this off, and then I go into Empoleon. At this point, a Fire Blast I would have been able to live anyway, so it didn't matter. But I Scald and I take him out. I hope that I would have surprised him with the Scarf, but he wasn't surprised. He just said that he didn't really have any switch-ins too, which is fair enough. If he was Max Speed Timid, he actually would have outsped the Scarfed Empoleon, because it's just not fast enough. I'm Max Speed Jolly, or Max Speed Timid Empoleon, and my speed is 1 point lower than a Max Speed Timid Salazzle. So obviously he was modest, or he just wasn't max speed. So that's a cool thing. But now he goes into the Zapdos, and I just kind of need to pick my fodder. I decide to hope that he might lock himself into an electric move and go into Gliscor, but he sees that coming in and goes for HP Ice, which is okay, because now he is choiced into the HP Ice. And so at this point I can kind of work around his being choiced, except for the fact that my mon that is immune to electric is dead now. I'm going to have to use Tapu Bulu to kind of play around it. So I bring in the Bulu, and because the HP Ice wouldn't take me out. I probably shouldn't have done that, knowing he was choiced into HP Ice. Slowbro probably was still the better thing to come into. I don't know why I went into Tapu Bulu. That was probably a little bit of a misplay, but I went for the Wood Hammer thinking I could get a lot of damage on something. But I mean, this is like a physically defensive Mawile, so it's just giving me all types of problems, and I need this Mawile to be done, because an issue with my team seems to be that if my opponent can stop Tapu Bulu, then I give them a chance to get the upper hand and take out the rest of my team. So the team doesn't seem to support Tapu Bulu as well as I would like it to. With the transfers I made, I did try and help that a little bit, but that wasn't the main thing. There was a lot of other holes. So now I go into the Slowbro. Pretty sure he's going to go for a knockoff, and I figure that I'll get Grassy Terrain, I'll get the Regenerator. I think I can do without leftovers on Slowbro, plus I can threaten him out with the Scald. He doesn't have a good switch into Scald right now. It's either going to do a lot of damage to this. If he switches in Zapdos, it takes Rocks plus Scald. Mamoswine is left, and that doesn't want to take a Scald. And there is one other thing, which I believe is this, the Terrakion, which definitely does not want to take Scald. So, I actually do get a tiny bit of help here, because I go for the burn, or I go for the Scald and I get the burn. At this point, I didn't think he had anything that could have dealt with me anyway, but at this point in the battle, I actually remembered that Z-moves exist, So I decided to look at Shroom's team tab, and I was like, oh, Terrakon's a Z-move user. I wonder if he gets any covers that could have killed Slowbro. And I immediately see the X Scissor, and I'm thinking he has to be a bug Z-move, I'm thinking. And it turns out I was actually right. Now, I don't remember, but I believe since he was Jolly, it was a roll in my favor to live, or I might have been out of the roll since he was Jolly. But that being said, I knew it was going to be a bug like Z move, and I was going to predict that. If he wasn't burned, I was probably going to switch into Torrent T. Honestly, like that's just what I was thinking at the match, because I hit the nail on the head with the bug Z move. So if he wasn't burned, I was going to most likely switch out into Torrent T to take it, and then I would be able to outspeed and go for probably a Hurricane or something like that. So that was the plan, but since he was burned, I could just stay in and go for the slack off. I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't. So now he's going to go for the Stone Edge, probably his highest power move, plus with the chance to crit, and maybe predicting me to switch out. Who knows? Stone Edge was just a good, solid try. But I'm just going to go for the Skull to take him out. So that's a kill for Slowbro. I believe the first one that Slowbro has gotten. So Slowbro has been a pretty good addition to this team so far, for sure. But of course that is going to give him the switch in to Zapdos, which means I have to sack something. He gets to go for an electric move. I mean, I can predict the electric move and go into Tapu Bulu, but then I'm taking unnecessary damage if he goes for the Volt Switch, and then he can get the upper hand by going into Mawile. So, but he does just go for the Thunderbolt. I sack Torrent T. It shows up on the field for all of 2 seconds, which is very sad. But that's going to give us a switch into Tapu Bulu because, again, he is choiced into Thunderbolt. So, I forget if this turn if I predict him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I predict him to go into Mawile. I didn't know if he was going to predict me to switch out predicting him, but I figured the safest play was to predict him to go into Mawile, and I believe I double switch and I go into Slowbro. Where's that Empoleon? Empoleon, okay. So I double switch and I predict it and I go into Empoleon. This again puts him back into the situation that he doesn't have anything that wants to take a Scald. So that is kind of what I'm playing off of right now. So I can go for the Scald and either do a lot of damage to this, or I can catch Zapdos and switch in, or Mamoswine, which is, you know, fantastic. So I do go for the Scald. I am risking him knocking off my Choice Scarf, which is going to be, which is going to suck for the Mamoswine. I think knocking off my Choice Scarf could have been good. I think he also said that he figured out that Blue was Scarf, so maybe not. If he didn't know that was Scarf, I expected him to knock off here, because then I wouldn't be faster than his Mamoswine, and so I wouldn't be able to outspeed it with a Scald. But he got up the Stealth Rocks. At that point, I'm not sure why, but I'm sure you can see his side of the battle for that. But I do Scald and I take out the Mawile, which gives Empoleon a kill, which is fantastic. At this point, he has to go for the electric move to take out the Empoleon, because I have no reason to switch out and sack anything else off, because if he overpredicts, goes for the HP Ice or something, then I can just sweep up with Empoleon. But he just goes for the electric move, and now, I mean, he can switch out, but, and this is basically what's going to happen. There was a little bit of time he actually forgot that he had Mamoswine, but I don't know how much it mattered, because I was out of a range for an Ice Shard, and I choiced myself into Hornleech anyway, and he's still pretty much at full health, and I'm going to go for the Hornleech, and now I'm at full health. So, the Mamoswine is dead. Tapu Bulu is going to clean up the game here, actually get its second and third kill, because as you can see, the Zapdos is going to come back in, and it can't beat both Tapu Bulu and Slowbro. So it needs to go for 2 HP Ices to take out the Tapu Bulu, and it needs to go for Thunderbolt to take out the Slowbro. He just goes for Thunderbolt. I mean, I guess if he gets a Parahacks and then I get full parried like 6 turns in a row, then maybe. But I just go for the Hornleech because I'm choiced into it. He's at 1 HP. Because he has only been taking rocks damage. So that is that, and that's going to be the game. Tapu Bulu gets 3 kills, Empoleon got 2 kills, and Slowbro got a kill. So my transfers have really been putting in work. Slowbro has been doing the finest of work, and Empoleon with the fantastic debut, the 2 kills, 1 death. I mean, if I was being really cheeky, I could have even sacked off the slyroh just to give Empoleon that positive differential, but I didn't really want to play it like that. So that's the game, and we can win, which is amazing. We came into this week in last place, with Shroomraver being in 11th place, and we've just put Shroom in last place. So that is another goal, that's another accomplishment on itself. Gives me a great feeling inside, so, but yeah, no, this is a really fun battle. I had a lot of fun with it. I showed that I still can win a game. I showed that I can form, a different type of team. People, I feel like, questioned my transfers a little bit, but didn't realize, like, how good I know that Gliscor is, how versatile I planned on being with Empoleon, and kind of all the holes that I've been trying to fill and cover up with this team. I'm just trying to patch it up a little bit. I know my team isn't perfect, but I think it's definitely better than when it started, and we're going to be going towards the end of the season here with a team that I feel a lot more comfortable with. So we're just going to have to see how that goes. Next week, unfortunately, I will not be battling my next week's opponent. I am supposed to be playing Alex Onesie Bennett of the Birmingham Spritzy, but I am moving this weekend, so trying to find the time to plan the battle and then actually have the battle is just a little bit too much for me, especially when I'm not in a position to get into a promotion spot. So Bill Standish is going to be playing my game for me. I will try and be around on like Twitter or something. I'm not sure if he's going to upload it, or I don't know how that is exactly working, if there's going to be an upload involved. But I will be playing Alex next week, so you can definitely go find Alex's channel and look for that upload. But that's going to be really, really cool. So I'm not going to be around to upload next week, but I will be taking back over the team the week after, and I will be playing the final 2 weeks of the season. So that's going to be really exciting. I hope you guys are excited for what's to come. And that is going to be all that I have for you. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. I will get back to you, and that is going to be it. So thanks for watching, guys, and until the next time, stay sly.